Hey, what's up YouTubers, Lee John Blackmore here at Super Easy Guitar. So this week I'm going to give you 5 things that you should be doing every day. Now, I don't do every one of these things every day, but I'll do one of them. So here are 5 things to keep things interesting, keep the brain working, keep the fingers moving, and improving on a daily basis. Number 1, staying on a chord, keeping in time and jamming over the top of it. So what do I mean by this? Well, like I was doing at the beginning, just pick an easy chord. I was just picking that E minor power chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you always want to try and go back to that 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. All I'm doing there is the pentatonic E minor. You can go up and use the extension. Even go above the 12th fret. Now I'm purely improvising, I'm just making it up as I'm going along. You can come up with your own licks. So it's quite difficult, as you can see, and I'm just improvising. You could even do like a proper lick at the top of the pentatonic. So if I try that with a bit of pulse. So it's kind of cool, and you can incorporate all the other stuff. So it doesn't have to be complicated, you just learn your basic pentatonic scale, do it as slow or as fast as you like, and sometimes it's good to play with a metronome. And it's really good fun, so when it comes to jamming, along with people, you can kind of jump in and out of playing licks. So that's really important. But the other thing that's important, and I do every single week, and that's I learn a new song, or I learn a new riff, or I learn a new lick. I might learn it once and never play it again, but it's the learning process that's the important thing. I don't always master everything, but I'm sometimes intrigued by things. Sometimes I'm intrigued by jazz chords, because they can sound really beautiful, and I hear them coming up in blues and things like that. So the thing I do every single week, I try to learn something new, and it's usually in the form of a song. Now, at the moment, I'm learning something quite technical, which is outside of my comfort zone, and I think it's very important to try something outside of your comfort zone. So to give you an example, I thought I'd show you something that I'm not good at really at the moment, and something outside of my comfort zone that I'm learning, and it's a finger picking tune. So I still haven't got it right. The rhythm isn't quite there. I need to put more time behind it. But again, the more I do it, the closer I get to it sounding how I want it to sound. And sometimes with fingerpicking, I like to put the capo on, not too far up. And what it does, it increases the tension on the strings, and it just helps get those fingers under the strings a bit. Which leads me on to the third thing you should try every day, and that is introduce something different. Now, if you're already a finger picker, then try with a guitar pick. If you already play with a guitar pick, throw the guitar pick away. And I'll show you a picking pattern. Now, I've just got the cap on third. You can do this without. I'm just playing C. And I'm doing this kind of standard Travis pick. It's kind of one of my favorites, one of my go-tos. So I'm doing 2 and 5 at the same time. Then I'm going 4-3. 2 and 5 at the same time, 4-3. Okay, so if you know the string names, B and A at the same time, then D and G. Okay, so you could just try that. 1, 2, 1, 2. So it's very important to have that rhythm, otherwise it'll just sound broken. It won't sound quite right. So then I'm just going to put another 5 on the end. So I'm going 2 and 5 together, 4, 3, then 5. Okay, and the beat on the end. So I'm just going to add to that again. 5 and 2, which is B, okay? Okay, now all this takes a while, right? So you really need to take your time on it. And if you're uncomfortable with the C chord, try an A minor chord, or even if this gets tired, you can remove it. Doesn't sound as good, but you still get the idea, okay? So now what we're going to do, we're going to put a last one on the end, which is going to be the D string. So 2 and 5 together, 4, 3, 5, 2, and then 4 on the end. Sounds like that. Right, so then just change between C and A minor, nice and easy. But go really slowly, okay? I'm changing on the double pick, okay? So when you're plucking the 2 and the 5 together. Now notice when you change chord, the root note changes. So I changed to G. So now I'm going to do 2 and 6. Everything else can stay the same. If you already know that pattern, try something in reverse. Something like that, right? So we got 5, 3, 4, 2. 5, 3, 4, 2. Change to A minor. Sorry. So which leads me on to the fourth thing. You don't always have to stick to open chords. Why not try some more exotic chords? Now, okay, so the way I played that was kind of jazzy, but the way I got into these exotic chords, if you like, is playing blues and stuff like that, okay? You know, and I hear people like John Mayer playing like sixths and stuff like that. So, you know, just because they sound jazzy doesn't mean you have to play them in that way. And actually, you might like it after a while. I found some really beautiful chords over the years, and they just become totally addictive after a while. You're probably already familiar with some exotic chords. E7 sharp 9, like the Hendrix chord, right? I mean, that could be perceived as a jazz chord, but most people don't understand how they're constructed. Now, the way to work it out always goes back to this do, re, mi major scale, okay? So if we just look at that, we know the root is E. And then we've got the octave, which is the eighth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's why we call it the octave, right? So what we got going on here, we got this. Well, we know that's a third. 1, 2, 3. Together, if you look at G chord, look at these two notes together. That's a third, okay? So whenever you see that pattern, it's what we call a third, okay? So we've got that, and then we've got this note here. Now that sounds kind of awkward, there's tension in it, and that's probably because, you know, if you think of a minor or a minor 7, brings this note out, and guess what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would be major because I'm playing the major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If we flatten it one, it becomes what people call the dominant 7, or just we know it as like an E7 chord. Okay, so we've got 1, 3, dominant 7, E7. Okay, just those. The A string, D string, G string. It's your E7. So what's this note here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's your ninth on there. So E7 9, but the chord is called E7 sharp 9. So we sharpen that ninth. So it's not that complicated, right? If you lower that pinky, it just becomes you got it, an E9. Sharp 9. I know there's a 7 in there as well. We just use the high number. Lowering, flattening that third becomes minor 9. Now, if we take it even more basic than that, if we look at like a normal A chord, 1, 5. Power chord, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Octave. Okay, so therefore, that finger there, that's your third. 1, 5, 1, 1 or 8, right? Because it's the octave, and 3. Now, if you flatten a third, if you ever flatten a third, becomes a minor. So now you're starting to see the construction of these chords around a scale, so you should never be intimidated by unusual chords, okay? We've still got a couple more strings on there, so we've got this. It's just a repeat of the 5th, and of course that top E is going to be the same as the bottom E. A note rather, so top E string is the A note, bottom E string is the A note, okay? So 1, 5, octave, which is 1, third or flat third for a minor, 5th repeat, and higher octave A. Alright, so, and then if we make it a 7, obviously we're just going to take that 8, that octave, and we're going to take it down by 1 whole tone. Becomes a 7. So major, minor, 7. Obviously, you know, they can get more confusing as they go on. But the more effort you put into visualizing how the chords are constructed and what note numbers are underneath them, you don't need to know the note names, just the numbers like the 3rd, the 5th, and the 9th. It's really straightforward. Don't be intimidated by these chords. Try new crazy exotic chords, make stuff up, try and work out what they're called. I'll give you one last one. So we got the E. Okay, we could go no fingers, we could go E. That's a perfect 4th. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything else is the same. So it's a suspended 4th with a 9, suspended 9th, you could call it, I guess. And then we could take that down again. Remember, that's the major 3rd, so that's E9. So if we were to move that whole chord down to the 3rd fret, that becomes C9, D9, and A minor 7, D9, you got your typical blues. E9, sharp 9. What's that going to be? Well, that's just the same as your major 3rd. It's just different voicing. You can also do that, what you did in the beginning, holding on a chord. Change chord. There's nothing complicated going on there. Holding down the chord, playing a basic scale, changing to the next chord, playing another part of the scale. You'll get really good at it. So the final thing, and probably the most technical thing, which is why I left it till last, because if you're more advanced and you want to become even more advanced, then you should be doing stuff like this anyway. I do this stuff all the time. I especially use it for warm-ups before I'm going to record or I'm going to go out gigging and stuff like that, okay? And it's as simple as this. Now, that's the G major scale. But what I saw Rick Beato do is actually something different to me. I'll show you what I do. But what he does is he does the pentatonic kind of versions. So which will be and then and so on, right? And all I'm doing, I'm using each note of the scale to start on. So this is major scale, G major, minor scale, A minor, and again, let's shift up, and shift up. Now you could do the whole version. So if I play them slowly, now you should know the first one. You can play the last note on the end as your fingers there. So that's kind of, one way of looking at it, but I like to do the mode as well. But to mix it up, I'll show you kind of the extended version of the mode. So I like to do, I call them the stretch versions. So it stretches the hand out. Now you don't have to They can all be done with one finger, so if your hands aren't big enough, it's no excuse. You just move the hand a bit more, right? So it goes like this. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So instead of doing the mode like this, you do the mode like this. 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7. And you see I'm using those extra notes, I'm going up. Or you could just use one strum, that's what I like to do. That's cool, right? I really should have practiced this before the video. And so on. Okay. It gets a bit tricky up there unless you've got cutaway, but it doesn't matter. The modes are exactly the same. Now when I'm talking about modes 1, mode 2, mode 3, Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian and Locrian, I know it sounds like gobbledygook and it's just a way of recognizing these things, but really in basic terms it's G major scale starting on the first note, Ionian, and mode 1. There's 8 notes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, including the octave. Now to play mode 2, all you do, you start on the second note. But make sure you still play those 8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Third mode, you've got it, third note on the scale. Fourth is the fourth note in the scale. And you see we're always going up one higher, just like I did with the stretch position. Sorry. And so on. I really need to practice these, right? So that's what I've got to do. Hope you've enjoyed this week's lesson. Please let me know what you thought of it in the comments box below. Love it or hate it. Want some more of this stuff? Don't want more of this stuff? Let me know. I love to hear from you guys. Please don't forget, for my covers, I don't get paid for these lessons, guys, but I've set up a PayPal donation button over on my website. Any loose change you have is massively appreciated. And I've also got some t-shirts for sale over on my website as well. If you'd like to send me a request, hook me up over on Instagram and I'll do my best to get back to you. Enjoy, and I'll see you again the same time next week.